see you all made it through the wintry mix or whatever it is right now. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. As you all know, every day is a great day to be a Hoosier. But today is a particularly great day for this Hoosier. As I announced earlier today, at the end of this year, this academic year, the bicentennial year, I'll be retiring as the AD at Indiana. I won't be retiring totally, I'm just retiring from Indiana and as an athletic director. Like I said in the comments in the release, it's just time. And that being time doesn't mean that I don't love it anymore, because I do, still love it. And it doesn't mean that there's nothing left to be accomplished, because there's plenty left to be accomplished. It just means that it's time. You know, it'll have been almost 12 years for me, and it's an all-in, all-consuming, every day, all the time job, which is part of the reason I really love it. But now I'm ready to step back and do something a little more flexible, spend a little more time with my 4 granddaughters and another grandchild on the way in January. So that's what I'll be doing. At the end, I don't know exactly what I'll be doing, but I know something will come up and it'll be great fun. So I came here to try to reestablish a strong foundation for Indiana University athletics. I really feel like we have done that, and it's time for me to exit stage left, so I will be doing that. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I guess, when did you kind of first know that this was the decision you wanted to make, and if you can, as much as you're willing, take us through kind of the steps from that point to right now?
Sure. So I've been thinking about it for a while, Zach. The bicentennial year seemed like a natural bookend. We've been pointing a lot of our efforts and using, in some ways, the bicentennial as a hook to get things done. We'll complete a record-shattering bicentennial capital campaign soon. We will complete our bicentennial capital campaign, which has invested just in the last decade over $250 million in our facilities. So things came together, and I think it's a natural time to reflect on that. And I've been thinking about it for quite a while, and talking to my wife Barbara, and I think sort of an Ignatian thing to settle yourself with a decision and see how it feels. And this felt really right, and I have no regrets and feel really positive about the decision. But giving that some time to stew with me was good. In terms of timing, my hand got a little forced by the Tom Allen contract extension, because I felt that it was only right to let Tom know that what my intentions were. I hadn't told anybody until that point. In fact, he actually asked me during those conversations about what my plans were and interested in me being around. I couldn't quite tell him about my plans until I told the president, so I actually scrambled a late evening meeting with President Robbie on the Wednesday before the Allen announcement. I think that'd be like the 4th of December. So I told Michael that night, and then I told Tom the next day. I also had a regularly scheduled weekly meeting with Archie, and I told him that day too, so I think Thursday before the announcement for Tom. The president told the trustees, because as a matter of happenstance, they were meeting in Columbus, and then we sort of went radio silent until the rollout today.
Fred, when you took this job back when, you didn't really have any athletic director experience coming into it. So looking back over it all, can you maybe talk about the 1 or 2 or 3 things about this job that surprised you the most?
I think everything surprised me. I mean, I really didn't know what to expect. I didn't understand the acronyms. I didn't understand what a joint group was, what the cycle was, and I think I paid a price for that learning curve. But at the same time, I think that was more than offset by I was too dumb to know what I couldn't do. And I think we went after some things and did some things that conventional wisdom might have said we couldn't do. But because I wasn't a product of that environment, I think we were able to get some of them done. But I will say, especially in those early days, I felt like, I was driving full speed down the interstate with no headlights on, because I really didn't know. going fast, I really wasn't sure where things were going. But over time, I think we're able to get some things accomplished, in part because we're taking a fresh look at some things.
I guess if you have any kind of favorite memories from the tenure that you've had here, is there anything that stands out, something you're going to look back on more than anything else?
I'm sorry, like a favorite moment?
Yeah, just kind of like a favorite memories, and then you're gonna, look back on your tenure as like the number one thing that you accomplished.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm thankful and fortunate that I really have a chock full memory cabinet of fun things and cool things. Most of them involve interacting directly with students, which is day in and day out my favorite part. I'll say the 8th national championship in men's soccer was a highlight, especially with Todd was my first hire as a coach, and to have that success was gratifying. The watch shot was just an instantaneous phenomenon that galvanized kind of the whole campus, and was a very exciting moment. And even though it didn't reflect us being all the way back where we wanted to go, it really reflected Indiana University basketball being relevant again nationally after essentially being wiped out and sort of de facto needed out the death penalty to come back that way. And that was a great tribute to Tom Crean. By the way, very few times is there a moment in time where you were back. Maybe not ultimately where you want to be, but back relevant, and that was big. And then more recently, the win at Nebraska was very gratifying. To go into that environment, beat them for the first time in 60 years, was staying on that sideline was a really great thing. And every time we beat Purdue, which has been 5 times in the last 7 years, by the way, that's been gratifying.
Mr. Glass, everything you've done has been geared towards this future of IU athletics. How will you be involved in selecting your successor, and is there a timeline for that?
Yeah, I won't really be involved in the selection of a successor. I have provided my confidential counsel to the president, and I'll continue to do that as asked. But that'll be his decision. When you move on, you move on. And I've moved on from a lot of cool things, and I think you just don't look back. So I'll be around as people may ask, but I won't be underfoot. And in terms of the selection process, that'll be 100% run by the president. I think he'll have an announcement this week with more details about how he's going to approach that.
At this point in your tenure, basically, what do you feel fulfilled about? What do you feel like is sort of the most important accomplishments that you walk away feeling like you have? I guess, what do you feel, not fulfilled about? And what do you think will be the most important challenges for your successor?
Yeah, in terms of what I feel good about in terms of accomplishments, without getting into the details of specific things, I think that they're more global things. So I really felt like I came here at a time when the foundation of IU athletics needed to be rebuilt, and I think we've done that literally with the buildings and figuratively with rebuilding the culture. And as a lot of you regulars know, it all circulates around the 5 priorities. Number 1, we're going to follow the rules. I think we've really instituted a culture of compliance. We had no major infractions cases during my tenure here. Number 2, we want our kids to be well in mind, body, and spirit. I think we've been a nationally innovative leader in terms of programming and personal development programs and care for our kids. I'm proud of that. Number 3, we want to achieve academically. We're graduating our kids at a record rate. We set record after record on our graduation success rate. We want to be excellent athletically. Many, if not most of our programs are enjoying historically great seasons, and we're proud of that. And all of our sports, I think, have a very positive, bright future. I'm extremely proud of the cadre of coaches that we have. Herman Wells said, from the university's perspective, it's the faculty that makes you famous, and I've always considered our coaches our faculty. And the facilities are important, and the programming is important, and the culture is important, but what really defines whether you're going to be successful or not is the quality of your head coaches. And I feel like we have a great group of head coaches on our faculty, which I think makes the future bright. Number 5, we want to be integrated with the university. I think we have been. We pride ourselves on that point. And all the while, we've set records in fundraising, and not coincidentally, gone on that $250 million facility remake wasn't creating, luxuries. It was really, I think, catching up from too many years of neglect of our facilities. So when you take those 5 priorities, I feel like we've been able to pay more than lip service to those and have documented success in those areas, which I think leave the department with a very strong foundation going forward.
One of the things you mentioned when you came was that you wanted to really help football become Big Ten viable. Kind of take us through what do you feel are the key things there, and where do you feel football is right now?
Yeah, it's funny you mention that, Jeff, because I was just talking to someone about my interview with the search committee, and part of my pitch to the search committee was Indiana's got to get football right, and there's a lot of other things we need to do, but for a variety of reasons, we need to get football to be excellent, like the overall Indiana University brand, because number one, I think it's important for football's sake. Football reflects disproportionately on your school, whether you like it or not. Again, Wells said that if we're going to participate in something, we should be excellent at it, and we had not been excellent at football. I think football is also important for the department, right? Because it can be a huge revenue generator, not only to reinvest in football, but to reinvest in our other sports as well. And we have inventory, we have opportunity to generate more money. I've often said that if we just filled the small stadium we have, we'd get $7 or $8 million to drop to our bottom line, which really makes a difference on our budget. So it's important for the department. And finally, beyond being important for football and being important for the department, it's important for the university. Because I believe that if as an undergrad, going to games as part of your experience, you're more likely to be connected to the university. Maybe you make a gateway contribution to the foundation, or maybe you're on the Dean's Advisory Council, whatever school you were in. So I think the stakes are very high, and that's why we really focused, and I think not at the expense of neglecting other important sports, all of our sports, but we've really focused on the football investment, and closing in the 2 end zones, and most recently the Terrytown Indiana Football Complex, and investing at an unprecedented rate in coaches, assistant coaches, offensive coordinators, strength conditioning coaches, etc. I think is really important. But you gotta slog at it every day and have consistency. So, as you know, Jeff, my thing was football will improve when we have consistently excellent leadership and consistent investments in the program. And you keep chipping at that rock, and eventually, it cracks. And I think we had a little bit of crack this year, which was sort of like an overnight sensation 10 years in the making.
From when your time started here, you talked a lot about academics being so important. Why was that so much of an emphasis for you, and how happy are you to see that the numbers and the graduation rates and stuff like that have gone up?
Yeah, when I came here because we had a major infractions case where our most prominent coach didn't prioritize athletics, let's say, and broke the rules. And it's not a coincidence that my number one and number 3 priorities are follow the rules, and then only after the wellness of the kids, academics. And that sounds super pedestrian, but if you have those basic rules in order, they are super helpful when you're in a situation, a budget question, a crisis, or whatever. You say, if academics is really our 3rd priority and it's ahead of athletics, then we're going to do this and not that. So we're an educational institution. I think it should be patent that academics should be preeminent. It is for us, second only to playing by the rules, and I'm really gratified that we went from a graduation success rate shortly after I was here that I think was about 74% to one that as we sit here today is 91%. And in those intervening years, we set 7 straight records. And I guess, Dustin, if we were going to look at particular things to be proud of, I'm particularly proud of the improvement of our graduation success rate.
You discussed basketball being kind of in a dire situation when you took over. How do you evaluate just the basketball program during your 10 years here, and kind of the future, where it stands now, and where you see it kind of going?
Yeah, as we sit here today, it's hard to even think about how bad it was when I got here. We were getting pitchers off the baseball team to dress and play. It us back, I think, being, relevant again. I mean, 2 outright Big Ten titles in, I think, 4 or 5 years is nothing to sneeze at. I think he deserves immense credit for that. I am also very excited about where we are with Archie Miller, and I think he's going to be a very, very successful coach in here for a very, very long time. Look at recruiting. He said he was going to be inside out. All the kids that we're getting from Indiana, the kids that, I can't comment on that he's on now from Indiana. Back-to-back Mr. Basketballs for the first time in 21 years. Recruiting's the lifeblood, and he's doing it. Developing players. Look at Rob Tennessee, Trace Jackson Davis, Armand Franklin. He's getting these kids and he's developing them as well. And then I think increasingly we see this team taking on the personality of its coach, with mental toughness and the ability to make plays at winning time. And I know some of our fans wish it would have been a little better, easier against UConn, and maybe a little easier against Nebraska, although I think the Purdue loss took a little bit of the edge off of those comments. But I always saw those games as a glass half full, because maybe we could have done better, and I ain't seen the back cuts or guys do layups. But when push came to shove, our guys were tough. They were mentally tough. They made the plays you need to make to win. And that's Archie, and that's part of the reason I'm super optimistic about the men's basketball program, and I think the sky's the limit there.
You talked about when you took over, it's like driving a car with the headlights off. What advice would you have for somebody, whoever it is that steps into your role, of what you wish you knew when you stepped into the game and the job that they might not expect to be looking for?
Ken, I just think I need to be real careful about gratuitous advice for whoever succeeds me. It's going to be their agenda. It's going to be their vision. I'm really proud of what we've accomplished over what would be the last 12 years, and I hope a lot of the commitment to being a values-based organization, a student-centered organization, committing to their personal development as much as we commit to their academic development and their athletic development. I hope those stay. But every person faces new challenges and different challenges, and I think it'd be presumptuous for me to, set an agenda or give advice to whoever comes next.
What do you wish you knew?
Other than like anything and everything. That's hard to tell. It really those early times were sort of a blur at this point.
Fred, obviously, there's so much of a spotlight on the decisions you make with men's basketball and football and such, but can you talk a little bit about the pride you feel as you're leaving now, with kind of like where women's basketball and soccer and baseball and such stand as well under your watch?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the question, because I understand the weight that football and men's basketball have and how justifiably important they are, and sort of their preeminent stature, certainly in our fans' mind. But we are 24 sports, one team, and I'm thrilled about the coaches that we have. When I look across the board at, Shonda Stanton in softball, Jeff Mercer in baseball, Steve Ayers is really getting it going in volleyball, Angel Escobedo in wrestling. I inherited Ron Helmer and Ray Lewis with great jobs those guys are doing with those terrific programs. Todd Yeager, the first person I hired. Erwin von Bennekom, who's coming up on the women's soccer side. I look back, we have 19 coaches that coach our 24 sports, and I hired 15 of them. To a person, I think they have the potential to be really excellent in their programs, and I'm really excited about that. Probably left somebody out.
Terry, you left Terry out.
Terry won. Yeah, well, I talked, that was one of the hardest conversations today, because I think Terry and I share a special bond about the way she was hired under challenging circumstances, and it might have been like August or some ridiculous time before, and then see them beating, 2017 national champion South Carolina, highest ranking ever, really realizing the potential of women's basketball in Indiana. I feel a special pride in her and a connectivity, really because of the way she came in.
I know you said you didn't want to just give, like you said, gratuitous advice to whoever your successor may be, but I mean, do you view there as being an obvious challenge for that next person, or do you feel like the foundation has been set that there's not necessarily one thing or a few things that stand out, it's just a question of keeping it going? Do you see something that's sort of obvious that the next successor will have to tackle?
You know, I think it's a fair question. I think finances are a challenge everywhere, particularly here. We compete in the Big Ten, and we get a full share of the media money, and that's awesome. It helps us compete, but because we have a small football stadium we don't fill, we're at a huge economic disadvantage with those that we compete against. I think the last year for which records were kept, Indiana had the least amount of ticket revenue in the Big Ten, about $6.5 million, and Michigan had $58 million. Half the league had $20 million or more in ticket revenue. That matters. That matters when you're hiring coaches and investing in things. And so that's part of the reason we've been so aggressive on fundraising, to try to level that playing field a little bit by getting extra dollars. But that'll continue to be a challenge. And that's part of the reason I'm so appreciative to the President and the Board of Trustees for their support in helping us make the investments that we made in football. One of the things I emphasized to Tom when I told him that I was moving on was that the commitments we've made to football were institutional commitments. They're not Fred Glass commitments. They're not even just athletic department commitments. They're commitments that have gone up to the President and the Board of Trustees in terms of the size of his compensation, the evergreen nature of his term, and all the things that I think indicate real support for him. So I think finances are a challenge, but I'm appreciative that the university is supporting us there. The other thing is just the whole landscape of intercollegiate athletics is dramatically changing. It's dramatically changed since I've been here, and there are even more dramatic changes on the horizon with name, image, and likeness, pay for play. What's that going to mean? I mean, I think there could be dramatic changes, and I think that'll be a big challenge for whoever comes next.
So obviously, 10, 11 years doing this. I mean, did you, when you came in, think that you were going to be doing this long? And why do you think you hung in so long, so many years in this job?
Yeah, I came with the intention of trying to stay for a long time. I was the 5th athletic director in 8 years when I was hired. And so just let that sink in a little bit. 5 athletic directors in 8 years. I can't even imagine how long it takes you to get to certain things and sustain initiatives and get things done. And I think that had created, frankly, a lot of dysfunction and morale challenges. People thought that was normal. It's not normal. And I thought to myself, I may not be the best AD ever, and I may not really know what I'm doing, but I can be here. Woody Allen said, 90% of life is showing up. I think there's a lot to that. And so I think the longevity would be helpful. I wanted to stay for a while. I didn't have a pre-plan of whether this was the last thing I was ever going to do or not. I thought maybe it might be. But as things developed for me, bicentennial year, capping off some of our initiatives, my oldest granddaughter's 5, so my having grandchildren, when I started, my kids were grown. I felt like I sort of through that. Now I feel like I'm coming back through, and I don't want to miss that stuff. And I want to have the flexibility that I had when my own kids were little. So to answer your question, I didn't have a preconceived notion of how long, but I felt like I owed it to the university to make it a good, long tenure, and I feel like 12 years fulfills that commitment.
I guess as you do talk about challenges, in terms of kind of on-field success, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the one area that it feels like you've kind of fought with more than others is men's basketball. Just, again, without maybe wanting to push the no advice thing too hard, what do you think kind of your successor and maybe the department more generally needs to do to keep kind of pushing that program forward into the next decade?
Well, I'm confident we'll continue to make all the investments that need to be made. I mean, it's undeniably a premier program, a source of great attention, and I think we've respected that by the investments that we've made. I think there are papers written about where we rank on investments in recruiting and travel and so forth, and it's way at the top, which I'm So I think we need to continue to make those investments, and I'm confident we will. And I think we also have to just be a steady hand on the helm, you know. I think people in my job need to be the steady hand, the adult supervision. Don't swing with the highs and the lows. And I haven't walked away from tough decisions that have been made. I don't think I'm Pollyanna about that, but I think giving things time in all our programs, doing it the right way, not getting impatient. Like Kipling said, treating success and failure as the imposters that they are day to day. Sort of keep your eye on the horizon. I think it's an important quality, really, for all our sports.
Fred, there's that sign on the door of your office that says you can be interrupted every time for a student athlete to come in. So in your decade plus of kind of dealing with student athletes here at IU, what did you learn that they wanted from their athletic programs, and how did you try and foster that relationship between the athletic department as, you know, one giant entity and making that a personal relationship with those athletes as well?
Right. Well, thank you for knowing that about the sign on my door. By far my favorite part of this job is interacting with students, and particularly the students that participate in collegiate athletics. But I also enjoy and accept every invitation I'm given to speak on campus and classes. And my assistants here somewhere, I had a parade of probably 24 kids come in and do their sports media interviews of me, because I figure if they've got enough nerve to ask me, I'll always say yes. And so I enjoy seeing the kids on campus as well. In terms of what they want, I think they want to be heard. You know, I mean, they've got perspectives. We've made SAC, the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, really the third leg of how we run the department, engage them, give them real estate, give them offices, give them stature. I get to know those kids, you know, generally very well. It's a cross-section of people. We started the Athletic Directors Council on Diversity and Inclusivity 3 or 4 years ago as those tensions in our country were, I think, kind of pulling people apart. We wanted to have a forum where we could kind of bring people together. So I think in terms of what they want, they would like to be heard and like to be respected. And for me, that's awesome, because that's my favorite part, you know, interacting with them. And I will say, never put a sign like that on your door if you don't expect them to drop in and expect to be seen, which I had my eyes wide open about that. And they drop in and we talk.
You mentioned you had a private meeting with Archie to kind of break the news to him. I guess what was his reaction to that? And you mentioned how you like what he's done with recruiting, but other things that he's doing with the program that you're really kind of happy with?
Yeah, as you might imagine, Archie was very even, you know, when I told him. And then very immediately, you know, congratulations, you know, happy for me. We've gotten to know each other well. And I'd like to say enjoy each other. I certainly enjoyed him. So it was immediately sort of congratulations and good for you. And you know, very even. Tom similarly was very positive about it. And I thought that was very good of him, given where we were in the conversations about the contract. And if he would have brought it up, I would have. I couldn't imagine going through that process and then, you know, sort of telling him that afterwards. But it did sort of accelerate things a little bit. The president was awesome too. I told him late at night before he was getting ready to have a 2-day trustee meeting, which that was not good timing. But he was very positive about it. And I confess to having been a little nervous about telling him, but he was great.
You're at the end of the line now. When you look back at the beginning of the line, back in 2008, 2009, and not having a lot of athletic directing experience, do you think about kind of the doubts that you might have had that you kind of eviscerated, or how did you kind of see yourself grow into the position, maybe as a person? Well,
Yeah, that's a great question. As I was considering whether or not to take the job, I had considerable doubts because I didn't know anything about it. It hadn't my background. But once I concluded that I thought I could do it, that I thought I could take my experiences from public service and really apply them to being athletic director, I felt like I could do it. And it's kind of corny, but I crisis and all the lessons that came out of that. And there's this great part in this movie where Kevin Costner is the chief of staff to JFK, and this is happening. They don't know what's going on, and they're new and everything. And so they bring in this Averill Harriman, this like old time diplomat, and ask him what to do. And it turns out that he just is a kind of clueless gas bag, and they look at each other like, my God. And then Costner goes to JFK, whoever he was, I forget, and he says, "You don't get it, do you, Jack? You know, there's no wise old men. You know, it's just us." And I always remember that because you can't look at somebody else and tell you what to do. You know, you've got to have confidence in your own abilities and you know, make the best decisions you think you can, and do what you think is right, because like Eleanor Roosevelt said, you'll be criticized no matter what you do. So you might as well do the thing you think is right. You know, don't try to placate the mob. Don't try to avoid criticism. Do what you think is right, and if it turns out not to be right, at least you're trying to do the right thing.
For probably the riskiest move you had to make during your time here was hiring Tom with no college experience and such. How good does it make you feel that 3 years later that it looks like you made the right choice there?
Well, I'm glad for the kids. I'm glad for, you know, Indiana football. You know, validation is sort of like criticism. It's a phantom thing to have somebody else, you know, tell you you do a good job. Or have somebody else tell you you did a bad job, and you've got to kind of judge it yourself. And you know, if the ball had bounced the wrong way a few times and we ended up at 5-7 this year, I'd still think Tom's the right guy, because he's the same guy in terms of recruiting and building and all that. And I thank God, you know, he's 8-4, and that's awesome. Makes the day a lot better, you know. But I'm not sure the fundamentals would have been different if you know if a few things changed. But I believed in it from the beginning. I'm really not surprised that we are where we are with that.
You said that you're retiring from this job and not retiring generally. I mean, do you have any ideas of things you want to do, or kind of waiting to figure that out?
Yeah, I think you got to take it one step at a time. So I'm retiring from Indiana University, and I'm retiring from being an athletic director. I have no interest in doing that anywhere else. But I'm not retiring. You know, professionally, I'll return to Indianapolis and see what makes sense. My guess is it'll be something similar to what I was doing before. I think I'm fortunate